Hi, I'm Will Holland and I'll be talking to you about remakes and reboots. The film that I'll be talking to you about is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The first film was made in 1971 and was called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, while the remake was released in 2005 and was called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Both films are based on the well-known children's novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, produced by Roald Dahl in 1964. The 1971 film is an American-British musical fantasy. This film contained many vocal scenes because of the era that it was produced. Because vocal scenes was a common code convention to have in films, while the remake, even though it's still a musical fantasy, it contained more verbal scenes than vocal scenes due to the different time period it was produced in. The 2005 remake of the novel is more verbal because it was produced in a new era where the demographics are more used to seeing verbal instead of vocals. But because the target demographic is young children and family, there is vocal scenes to make it more appealing to the demographics as well as keeping to the original well-known songs. However, the family Roald Dahl was not happy with how the actor Willy Wonka in the 1971 film was acted out like, because they said that he did not portray the way that Willy Wonka acted or behaved in the book. Furthermore, the family was not happy that the film title got changed to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory instead of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The family Roald Dahl said that they prefer the way that Johnny Depp acted out the role. This is because while acting the role, he gave the character a creepy, surreal feel, which the family said fitted the way that Roald Dahl described and spoke about him in the book. Also, the family said that they was happy that the remake of the film was named after the original title because it was more relatable back to the book, and being Roald Dahl's work should have been named the way he wanted it to be named. However, the film did get some stick because of how the character of Willy Wonka was portrayed. The reason why the film got some certain amount of abuse was because 2 years before the film was released in 2003, Michael Jackson had an accusation of child abuse. This accusation was seen upon when Michael Jackson was inviting children to his house to stay for a night or two. His house was meant to be a dream world where children had everything they wanted and more. And in 2005 he had his trial where he was found not guilty, but the people who watched the 2005 remake said how the character of Willy Wonka was acted like was too similar to the way people saw Michael Jackson. A bubbly, creepy personality with a big building where children wanted to go to. It was a dream world, and the fact that he only invited a certain amount of children to the factory was too lifelike to how Michael Jackson's accusation. The 1971 film Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory had a budget of $2.9 million, while the 2005 film Charlie and the Chocolate Factory had a budget of $150 million. The 1971 version still had a lower budget to work with compared to the 2005 film. This means that the 1971 film was more limited to what it could be achieved compared to the 2005 remake, because the remake had more of a budget, which means they could spend more money on props and locations to make it more realistic. But because the original was such a big hit after the time period of abuse, when the remake was in production, it got a bigger budget to work with because they knew that it was going to get an audience for the remake and that it would sell. So in hindsight, the bigger the budget, the better the film would be. However, this is not always the case. Also, being a film about a childhood dream chocolate factory and being based on the book, there are many obscene objects and machineries, which means that a big part of the budget would have had to go to making the objects and machinery, which means that both films had to work with less money before any filming had started. In the two films, the intended audience stay the same. The target demographics for the two films are mainly young children as well as the family. The reason why that is mainly aimed at young children is because the film is based on a childhood dream, a factory that produces all the chocolate in the world and a room where everything is made out of chocolate. Also, another reason why the film are mainly aimed at children is because the main characters of the film are children, which means children are more able to relate and understand because it's one of their peers. Furthermore, both films are also aimed at the older family members because throughout the film there are jokes that the older family members will understand, which pardon, which makes them more able to watch the film with their own children. On addition, both the films are appealing to all demographics. This is shown because there are no parts in the film where there are discriminations against other countries. Also, being a common childhood dream to have all the chocolate in the world in their hands makes the film more appealing to all children around the world. Another point that shows the film is appealing to all children around the world is that one of the children that won the golden ticket is a German boy. This makes it more appealing to children all over the world because it shows that this film is not based on a certain country and that it can appeal to every child. There is no other films that are based on the same genre that would impact on the production, the remake, because Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, because the film was such a big hit, it would have been impossible to compete against it. And if any other film was produced following the same concept, it would have been frowned upon and would get bad publicity because of how well Willy Wonka's film did, which only left for the film to be remade. Personally, I found the remake of Willy Wonka was mainly for financial benefits. It was seen as you put Tim Burton's name on it, it was sure to reach a wider audience, and people are going to watch it to spend money to see it because of the name of Tim Burton. Even John Wilder, the actor of the 1971 film of Willy Wonka, said himself that the remake of the film was an insult and said it's all about money, to then finish it off by saying it is just some people sitting around thinking of a way they can make more money. Why else would they remake Willy Wonka? I don't see the point of it going over it again. The main market techniques for the 2005 remake of Willy Wonka was the Willy Wonka Candy Company by Nestle. As a small range of Willy Wonka bars were launched, the 1971 film didn't really have any marketing techniques because marketing for films was not seen upon of a way of making money. However, they did have a basics of posters. However, even without marketing like the 2005 version, the 1971 film still managed to make $4 million. In 1971, technology was very basic, which means that CGI was not what it is today. This made it hard for the production of the film, because where parts of the film would have been performed by CGI in the 2005 film, in the 1971 film they would have to reenact it or use smaller scale models to give the impression of what's happening. An example of this is in the 1971 film where Mr. Wonka, Charlie and Grandpa Joe are in the glass elevator and are flying over the city. How they performed this is by making a miniature model of the city and the elevator, and then filmed it as it glided over the small city to give the impersonation that it was happening in real life. Another part where they would have to perform a real thing was the chocolate river. The river was made out of water and chocolate syrup to give the impersonation that it was a chocolate river. This relates back to the budget where they had to spend money to produce this, which means they had less money to spend on the rest of the film. In 1971, the internet as well wasn't a big thing, if a thing at all. So spreading trailers and making the news go viral wasn't easy. It was all down to posters and radio campaigns. It wasn't easy for the film as it is as wide as it wasn't easy to the film to spread as easy as it can today. The 1971 original film of Willy Wonka, when it was released, had bad publicity from Dahl himself. The audience, until it became popular in the 80s Christmas films. I don't know what I just said there. The 1971 original film of Willy Wonka, when released, had bad publicity from Roald Dahl himself and the audience until it became a popular 80s Christmas film. So when the remake was announced, it wasn't a surprise that the audience was already saying bad words about it before it was even released. In addition, after Dahl gave his statement that he wasn't happy with how the film was produced and how it got changed to the way he did not approve with, made the fellow audience of Dahl's to start disliking the film, which caused it to drop in the ratings and left a bad mark on the actors and director. However, because Tim Burton was the director, a lot of audience options started to change because of how well known the director is and because of how well his past work has done. And the final part that made the remake become more popular before release was the announcement of that Johnny Depp will be playing Willy Wonka. Having such a big fan base brought more popularity, and the remake started to win the modern audience back towards the famous novel. This tells me that the audience opinion on the film can be determined by who's the director, who are the actors, and how the writer feels about the film. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've learned lots.